you're an introvert like me, you've probably felt left out of the make money online conversation. Everywhere you look, extroverts are crushing it. They're doing endless sales calls, they're posting their face on social media 24/7, or they're building personal brands where they have to be on all the time. Now, maybe you've even thought that making serious money online just isn't for quiet, behind the scenes folks like us. I used to believe that too. I watched countless YouTube gurus telling me I needed to put myself out there more, I needed to overcome my fear of rejection if I wanted financial freedom. But what if I told you there's a way to generate a serious online income without ever showing your face, taking sales calls, or dealing with, demanding customers? Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the exact business model that is perfect for introverts, one that I've personally earned over $10 million from, and it plays into our natural strengths rather than forcing us to become somebody that we're not. Now, the reality is most business models force introverts to act like extroverts. If we look at influencer marketing, for example, you have to be dancing around on camera, constantly putting yourself in new and interesting situations, or collaborating with other people to grow your audience, etc. If we look at coaching, you are constantly dealing with people and trying to transmit ideas that you've come across, or your expertise to another person. And if we look at the consulting, it's the same thing. And for introverts, you lose your energy when you're dealing with other people. So these business models aren't sustainable because you're constantly going to lose your energy until you burn out, which is a common problem with many people trying to run a business online. Now, I remember my very first job I had after college. It was working in a call center, doing 120 calls a day was my quota. It took a toll on me. I hated it. I had to interrupt 100+ people every single day. I didn't like doing that. It wasn't enjoyable for me. It didn't bring me energy. There's some people that like doing that, go up to strangers and talk all the time. But for me, it wasn't a sustainable thing. And that's why I learned online marketing, because calling people up and interrupting their day went against my natural tendency. But if I was to do that with an ad, it didn't. Now, for me, when I discovered how I could just post text ads and text posts and images online and make an obscene amount of money, it gave me an unbelievable amount of freedom. And it allowed me to do the things I'd preferred in life that brought me energy, which was hiking and traveling the world and going in airports, as weird as that sounds, and flying to different countries and experiencing new cuisine or new sites or new mountaintops, new places to kite surf, new places to ski. I recall at the time people were saying, John, how the heck are you able to do all this stuff? It seems like you're constantly on vacation. We know you're not a rich kid. But the reality is, when you tap into the money-making power of the internet, your life becomes limitless. Now, let me break down some of the popular online business models. Now, the first online business model is coaching and consulting. It's just kind of trading some advice or expertise you have or you learned in university or whatever on a subject or through experience, and sharing that with other people. Now, this is probably the most extroverted, because what you're doing is you're having to do a lot of things dealing with people. First off, you're having to actually close and call up people to have them pay you many conversations to actually get somebody to agree that you know more than them on a certain subject and they should pay you. Then you have to go about, the most annoying thing, I know this sounds banal, but you have to go about collecting the payment. Oftentimes it requires follow-ups. And then third, you also have to actually service the customer yourself. You have to have calls with them. You have to communicate to them in a way they understand. You have to deal with their erratic communication. Let's face it, most folks are completely erratic in their communication, what time they talk, or they're late to calls, or they need to reschedule things, or they need to cancel a call because some, emotional thing in their mind came up for them. It's frustrating as heck. Now, the agency business model isn't much better. You're still doing all the same things where you're having to get on sales calls to close a customer, You're having to not only do that and collect the payment and service the customer. You have to communicate with all these employees and make sure they're actually doing the service. You have to make sure your employees are actually talking to the customer. There's even more communication, more coordination, and more people involved in an agency. You're dealing with lots of people and constant communication all the time. And if you're an introvert, it's eventually gonna break down because you're just simply not communicating because you had something that, shuts you down. Now, finally, we have the drop shipping and e-commerce model, which I would say is the least communication intensive of all of the ones I've mentioned so far. But the reality is with drop shipping or e-commerce, you're still dealing with customers. You're still dealing with customer problems. You're still dealing with refunds or chargebacks because people didn't receive their shipment on time, or they accidentally entered in the wrong address, or they dropped it and they think they should get a free replacement, or whatever reason it is, you're still dealing with people. And especially in e-commerce, you're generally dealing with product sales that are around, let's call it $25 to $50. So in order to scale to that income of $10,000 a month, now you're dealing with hundreds of customers that are all looking at you as the solution to their problems. Now, of course, you may not have to jump on phone calls, but you're still dealing with hundreds of people where you are the ultimate arbiter of, whether they're happy or have their product or all these other things. Now, the business model I've earned over $10 million from, and that is perfect for introverts, is affiliate marketing. And the reason why is because you're not actually dealing with any customers because you're selling another company's products and you're earning a commission from that. So the customer communication is all done by the other company, and everything else is done by the other company. The merchant processing, all those sorts of things. And affiliate marketing is great because it doesn't require you to use your face. It doesn't require you to get on the phone with anybody. It doesn't require you to public persona at all on the internet. The way I teach my students, we never use our face on camera. What we're doing is we're creating little ads and posts that we put online to sell another company's product. And I'm teaching students with zero marketing skills because the reality is marketing has become scientific and algorithm-based at this point in time. And if you understand the process of direct response marketing, how to analyze the data and think about things rather than, just sell things, you make a lot of money. And the reality is for introverts, we're better at processing data and then making a decision rather than spontaneously acting on information or stuff like that. We need time to process. So here are some personal examples of campaigns that I made a lot of money from affiliate marketing with. In this case, let me bring on this one. So this is a Facebook post, and I was making anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 a month. Now, this was the ad I did, massive bedbug epidemic on Facebook. And as you see, bedbugs are shutting down businesses and being found at local movie theaters at homes. And you'll notice I experimented around with a green dot in the corner, with bite marks on different areas of the body, with news, and various other things over the course of this campaign. I ran this for a few years and was earning about 50% ROI. So about half of the money, which would be $10,000 to $25,000 a month, would go right into my pocket from this one campaign. Here's another ad I did for this product I launched on Google. Are there bed bugs in your home? And what I would do is I'd send them to a advertorial page like this, what we call a landing page, and then they would go to the product page to actually purchase. Now, this is just an image of the product page. I don't actually have, company is not around. Now, another product I advertised on godvine.com or godtube.com. And I advertised survival course. I used ads like this to advertise a survival course like this. And people would watch the video and then they'd buy. Now, this was extremely effective, and this earned me, I'd say this campaign earned me total $20,000, $30,000. This was my very first campaign as an affiliate ever. Now, a third example of a campaign I built that made me millions of dollars, this one probably made me a total of $5 million, were these ads for a weight loss product. This is my ad. It says, wow, she looks like a completely different person. You can't even tell it's her anymore. And it says incredible transformation. And then I used a landing page like this one. As you see, simple coffee trick, burns stubborn fat, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd send them to a weight loss product that they can buy. So as you see, whenever they buy this product, I earn commissions. Now, introverts naturally excel at this process and affiliate marketing because it's about actually testing and analyzing data, and that's part of listening. You know, what comments are folks leaving on your ads? What does the data say of people liking it? You know, should you use this ad or this ad? It's a much more thoughtful process, what an extrovert excels at, which is reacting on the fly. Now, the primary thing you're doing in this sort of business is building systems, whereas in most businesses, it's about building relationships. As an introvert, we don't want more relationships. You know, we want one person, our man, our girl, or whatever. Here, you don't have to build any relationships. You're about building systems and looking at analyzing the performance of things you put out rather than actually having to analyze and judge yourself, which is like what introverts are so scared. We don't have to be judged because we're putting up posts. We're not using our face. We don't ever have to talk to customers, and the product is not ours. And if customers are not happy with the product, it has no reflection on us, nor do we ever even hear of it. And what's scarily great, but still scary about this business model is that not only can it create a reliable, predictable income for you, but you don't have to have any personality whatsoever to make this make you money, which is crazy. And how can it be predictable? How can selling people be predictable if it's not based on yourself, right? Well, it's the law of large numbers. There's billions of people out there, and marketing is a science. And I teach that science in my courses. There's 3 aspects to marketing. One is the most boring, but it's research. How do you find what's working? How do you model that? How do you even know if it's working? The second is copywriting. How do you write a good ad? How do you write something? How do you create an image? How do you create a sound? How do you create a video that captures people's attention and brings it to your ad, that gets them to stop that scroll and click that button? People are surprisingly simple and more programmed than you would ever believe. We utilize that to our advantage to sell things to folks. And the third thing I teach in my courses is data analysis. Instead of having, similar to extroverted businesses, where we have to judge ourselves or have others judge us, our ability to sell by either giving us money or not giving us money, we don't have to sell in this. So we don't have to be judged. What has to be looked at or judged is the ad itself. So you've created that separation from yourself so you don't have to feel that pain and torture of being judged. You don't need to change who you are to make money online. In fact, as an introvert, you already have the natural skills and tendencies to make an incredible affiliate marketer. I've taken everything I've learned from years of building these invisible income streams and operating with AI at various levels, and I've created a step-by-step system specifically designed for introverts like us. It's a complete blueprint that shows you exactly how to find profitable products, set up automated marketing systems that post and get people viewing them and clicking your links and making money and scaling that to a full-time income without ever having to get on a sales call or show your face. Now, if you're ready to build an online business that works with your introverted nature rather than against it, click the first link in the description and I'll show you exactly how to get started. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. This has been John Crestani, and I'll see you in the next video.